Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Field Mcconnell in the house, everybody. So please feel free if you have a question for Field to raise your hand, and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast. Or if you can't speak, there is a picture of him and his wife Denise on the board of his books, his Field of Honor book. You can write your question underneath the comment area there. Also, to everybody, for those of you that are asking me about the book. They are great Christmas gifts. So, and they are an absolute national treasure, just like Field McConnell. You learn a ton in those books. They are on the book, or on the book, they are on the wall. So, if you have questions about that, please reach out to me at the Revival of America at yahoo.com, and I can get you all the information you need regarding those books. Also, to everybody, please be careful who you listen to, who you follow, what you're putting in your mind. The agitators are being revealed. The confusion is real. It is, oh, I can't even tell you guys. It's wild. It is insane. People are starting to name names, and it's just, it's kind of gross out there what's happening and how they're really trying to splinter this MAGA movement because it is so strong. So please, everybody, I can't implore you enough, stay out of the noise because that's exactly what it is. That's what they want. The whole thing with the seditious six is another thing that they wanted to try to, spread that division and get some people out there to cause chaos. So we're seeing a little bit of that, everybody. We're gonna, I believe, see some more. We do have people out there pushing that, we're going to have this civil war and just ugly fear, right? Stay out of the fear. Don't fall for that. Of course, it's everybody's opinions out there, right? But just if you don't know who to follow and you're just that confused, please follow first and foremost God, secondly Donald Trump and his team, because he's really telling us, everybody, what's going on, and everything that he has been telling us and we have been pushing out there is coming to fruition, guys. So that's great stuff, but through the course of that, we're going to see some drama, as we always have. So just stay out of the noise, everybody, please. I'll sit here and I'll listen to it. You know me, I'm not going to call people out by names. I'll let you know the patterns, the consistencies of what I'm seeing, and this is kind of some of them. And obviously, to the ones that aren't consistent in what they say, they flip flop, or they're out there just. I mean, you can really kind of tell when they get defensive. If you start talking, you asking questions, whatever. I mean, they really start to show their colors the more they speak. So they're kind of getting easier to pick out these days. So again, just be careful, guys. It's because I care, and your mind is a powerful tool. And I'm seeing a lot of people get a little bit twisted in this movement because the confusion is real. So be careful, guys. Also, too, we're being listened to in over 100 countries, everybody. So if you come in late to this podcast, or if you want to share it with somebody, feel free to follow the podcast host or the social medias, and they are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, PocketCast, Riverside, Amazon Music. My social medias are Jenny Jeread Facebook, at Jenny_Jeread X, at JJeread True Social, at JJeread Instagram, at JJeread Rumble. I had to think about that for a second, guys. The Revival of America right here on Telegram, the Revival of America over on YouTube. And so you can see I'm not too hard to find. Also, go check out the website, everybody. We do have a couple pages up there, one for the children, one for Field, one for John Baxter, Carrie Kasem, and then Rick with Brain Health, Brain IQ Health. He'll be on this Wednesday along with Captain Kyle. So we'll have Captain Kyle's back on Wednesday. He's going to be 5:30 Central Standard Time. We'll have Silk on at 9 p.m. over on my X account. We're going to have John Baxter. He'll be on at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Brain IQ, Rick from Brain IQ Health, he'll be on at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Wednesday. So we're going to have 4 shows, guys. The shows are going to be a little bit kind of limited because it's the holiday season, right? We're coming into Christmas. People are traveling. So just watch for those. Like I said, they're going to be sporadic. They're going to be maybe 4 to 8, depending on people's schedules. So just bear with me. This is that time of the year, and I want everybody to enjoy their time with their family and friends because, again, everybody, it is just so wild out there. You just need to kind of step away from this stuff right now. I do want to say that some great news that I'm seeing in several of these spaces that I'm sitting in. The children are being talked about more now than ever. Gives me me the goosebumps to talk about it, because this is something that hasn't been talked about for a long time, and people just kind of put it by the wayside, because I really believe that people can't imagine that people can be so evil and do that to children. But they are coming to the forefront again, everybody, and a lot more is being talked on the children. So that is amazing, and I'm super excited about that. So continue to follow those people that are talking about the children, because remember, everybody, this is all about the children. We have to save our children, because they are coming hard for our kids, like wild hard. So again, this battle's not over. And when we get on the other side of this, everybody, it's still not going to be over. It's just beginning. We've got cleanup to do. So hang tight, everybody. Also, too, if you have a personal email for me, or if you want to get in touch with John and his staff, or ask about Field and his books, whatever it may be, please send all your emails to the revival of America at yahoo.com. I'm trying to keep everything in one area, because I'm getting all these DMs from other locations. It's just easier for me to go on my email, read them there, and respond to you. Bear with me, guys. It's wild for me. I'm busy. I'm just busy. So I'm trying to get back to you guys as soon as I can. So just be patient. And then also, too, if you have a story, you can cruise on over to TROA Submissions. Submit your story. We will vet it if we believe it's a real story, because we have those shysters out there that just want to have get on on a podcast, that like to make up stories. So once we vet it, we know it's legit. We'll email you and get your voice, your story on the show. Because remember, everybody, it's your voice, your stories that are going to help shape this new world that we're coming into. So don't be afraid. Now, I encourage you more now than ever. I get it, the censorship and all that stuff in the beginning of this, but people are starting to get loud and use their voices, and I'm very proud of that. It's really exciting to hear, and these stories are just really gonna help us find the truth here in the coming days. So with that, everybody, I don't think I gave you my website, but that is revivalofamerica.com, and Field is in the house, and I want to welcome him. How are you, Field? Push the blue button. I know it's been a minute since we've been here, but how are you, Mr. Field?
I'm fine. I'm very, I'm very lackadaisical about pushing that blue button, but maybe I'll write it down on my calendar for the next time.
You
But
did great.
I'm fine. Yeah, and and I'm glad that you had time with your family over Thanksgiving, because families are what produce children. And I agree wholeheartedly with you that we as a nation and we as a globe, we need to take better care of our children. And I hope to bring back the Children's Crusade, perhaps as early as March or April. But, and I've already lined up a lady to be with me, because my wife Denise died 5 years ago, and I couldn't bring myself to having the Children's Crusade without a lady. And for what I think are obvious reasons, I think an unmarried male running a children's crusade has a lot of red flags. And so it has red flags for me too. And that's why I refuse to do it. But I look forward to reestablishing the Children's Crusade, and we can pick up where Denise and I left off. And we certainly didn't want to leave, but because of her death, it had to be. So, anyway, I don't need to soliloquize, if that's the proper word, but I want to thank you again for having me on. I really enjoy your chat room. I mean, the chat room, when they ask me questions, I learn stuff. I don't know if that's obvious to the chatters, but if they stimulate me by asking me a question I can't answer, by the time they answer it, then I know the answer. And I have a fairly good memory, but I need to hear it once to remember it for the other times. But what would you like to do today, Jenny?
Well, I was just going to ask you that, because I know there's so much going on out there. I try to play catch up within the mix of my day gig and everything, and um it's been what, maybe a little bit over a week since we've had you on here, but is there anything particular you want to speak about? A lot of stuff going on out there for sure.
Oh, yes, I know. And over in the United Kingdom, which some people call England, but the United Kingdom actually consists of England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. That's enough of my geography lesson. But I think the English or the UK citizens are starting to express themselves, and they are demanding that Keir Starmer, I think that's his name, um, he's the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and he's not a nice guy. He was the CPS, and that's Chief Prosecution uh, something, uh, maybe service, and he covered up 4 decades of Jimmy Savile's abuse of young boys, young girls, and dead people. And I'm going to say that again. Necrophilia is the abuse of dead people. And if that doesn't offend you, then, well, it offends me. I'll stop. I'm not going to accuse anybody of being tolerant of necrophilia. And I don't even like saying the word because I know what it means. But Jimmy Savile, he wasn't picky. If he couldn't find a little boy or a little girl, he'd be more than happy to take out his lust on a deceased party. And I can't tolerate that. And I'm very proud of the citizens of the United Kingdom for waving the BS flag at that. And, I'm going to watch closely. And I do have a friend or two in England still, and I can sample the mood of the English people by what I'm told in private conversations. And I'll leave it at that because I don't want to dominate. But you know what I really like best about your platform and your chat room is I like it when we go right to questions and answers. If the chat room is willing to do that, because that stimulates me. And Monday is the only day of the week that I'm busy because every third, yeah, that's correct. Every third Monday, I get a haircut at 11, and then I try to get home from my haircut to be on time. And today I was a little bit tardy, and I don't know why. I didn't stop anywhere, and I got out of my haircut on time. I guess I was just undermotivated or lackadaisical. Over to you, Jenny.
Oh, you're good, Field. You're good. I do my PSAs before my guests get on. I know some people maybe not like them, but I do that for a reason. So no worries at all. Um, but I was going to say something real quickly before we go into Q&A. So everybody here, if you have a question for Field, we're going to open it up to you guys. I want to mention Captain Kyle. Captain Kyle is going to be, I normally have him on every other Wednesday because of his work schedule. We are putting him once a month right now because he is going to be his work is he's going to be working a lot. Let's just say that with everything coming up and that's happening in the world, his job requires him, now to be. He's going to be working a lot. Let's just say that, okay. So say the prayers for our captain. He's out boots on the ground out there as well. But really kind of I think he's in he's in the seas. I think I don't know. He's a captain or something. So he will be on once a month for temporary, and then we will get him once things maybe kind of cool down a little bit. We'll get him back on every other Wednesday. So I just want to give you that heads up. Also with Dallas. As of right now, he had another job possibility that came up. That's why he wasn't on last week because he was studying for some kind of test that he had to do. So I'll keep you posted on that if we're still on the 2-week dealio or if we're gonna put him 2 every 2 weeks, but in the evening or once in a while. I don't know, but a lot of things we got a lot of moving parts going on right now, everybody, so I just want to give you that heads up. So real quickly, Field, my question to you before we go on to Q&A, and please, everybody, you're here, ask your questions to Field, because you are a part of this podcast, and that's what makes my podcast different. I'm not the same echo chamber as everybody else reporting the same news. I am giving my audience a voice along with my guests. I feel like it's important that I podcast, not only being the guests, but I wanted you guys to know that we're people to you and we want to hear your voices because your voices matter. There's never a dumb question, so ask away, guys. We are here for you. It's important more now than ever for you to ask whatever questions you have because a lot of crazy things are going on. That confusion is real. That confusion is real. People just don't know who to trust anymore or who to follow. I get it. I'm seeing some people that maybe that I follow, whatever, some very questionable things. I just shake my head and go, "What?" So it's not just you guys, but I see it. So I feel the question for you, Rico. Everything that I'm being told that there's stuff going on now, operations going on down in Venezuela, and the blowing up of these narcos. We have the lying stream media saying they're fishermen boats with civilians on, which we know they're just full of fentanyl and all this stuff. I would love to know your thoughts on that and your thoughts on, now we're actually on the ground over in Venezuela, and I think we're going to see some military action.
Well, I was in the military 26 years, and I'm very pro-military, but I'm even more anti-war. And I think by having a prepared military with recency of experience and good training that's expensive, I think it's so much more desirable than war. War is a way to take some of the best, brightest of the young men and women that if they killed in a war, they're going to be out of the breeding business, which in my case, I have 4 kids. I've just had my 10th grandchild, and it's not breeding the formation family. And if you're gonna cause a person or incur a penalty, then I think you need to be prepared to have a plan. This is just my opinion. To care for those little children, then if in fact just popped into my head, and I bet you've heard it. We have somebody play it for you, but it's by Eric Carpenter, and the name of this is Blood, the Beast, and the so committed to be part of the blessing for the children by standing up for them when oftentimes their own parents throw them to the wolves, so to speak. Um, defy anyone on earth to touch one of my 10 grandchildren. Uh, these little people didn't ask to be born. I had a grandson born on October 1st. His name is Romeo. I had nothing to do with that. I think it's a nice thing. And a year ago, on November 5th, was election day 2024, I had a granddaughter whose name's Ingrid Eileen, and she's a beautiful girl. And, I love my 10 children. I don't know how any adult, male or female, can take care of an innocent child and think that God's not going to see it. And so I'm not here to scare anybody, but God doesn't miss anything. He knows what's in our heart. He knows what we done. And well, the fortunate ones of us who've done something wrong at some point in our life, if it admitted to God and sought His forgiveness, He's faithful and instant and try to forgive us. He doesn't have to forgive us, it's up to Him. But He's a loving God, and He's done for me. I feel ashamed of myself for not doing more for myself. But He's a wonderful gift back in 2015. I'd been married and divorced 3 times. God inspired me not to give up. And He introduced me to a lady in England that I married. And after 5.5 years of very blissful marriage, how many times you hear that phrase? Or I'm not sure marriages are blissful, but my last one, and it will be my last one, Denise Irene Clark Mcconnell, was as blissful as I can imagine a marriage to be. And then when some criminals, one of the criminals was the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. Another one is the governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, colluded to forward false charges against me, and they were never proven in court. And so therefore I'm not guilty of anything. And they're going to be guilty of something. They're, well, elder abuse, because I'm 76 years old and they've been abusing me since I was 70, which I think is the threshold for elder abuse in Wisconsin. I have some and a very good memory. And I think that's too. And the judge of the 7th District of Florida Court, whose name is Dan Case, he denied permission from his court to go back to Wisconsin and say, my wife. And he probably thinks he's not going to over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you. I appreciate that. Did you want to touch a little bit on I know you talked about the Venezuela a little bit. You're not for war. I get it. I understand that. But we do have them trying to come and destroy us with all of their drugs and everything like that. Do you want to maybe touch on
Yeah,
that a little bit and what Trump's doing?
yes, yeah, I'm in favor of reducing drugs. That's a coward act on the drug providers and the people that make money off drugs, because even though you meaning the people providing the drugs, um, and by the way, Mitch McConnell, if you remember that name, I don't know what his status now. I don't think he's walking the streets freely, but he's married to a Chinese lady who's, I don't know if she's a lady, she's a female. Um, and she's the daughter of a Chinese billionaire who peddles all sorts of legal drugs into America. Uh, if I were still, I'm not, by the way, be clear about that, but if I were working closely or maybe more closely with military white hats loyal to Donald Trump, uh, I think I could help eliminate the drug problem. And I think that that is a worthy cause or a mission for our military to shut off the flow of drugs. Drugs are the weapon of a cowardly group of hypocrites, because the damage they do is not to themselves, it's to innocent parties that don't have the knowledge or the willpower to avoid taking illegal drugs. And I've I've never had an illegal drug in my life. I've never even had something that's legal in many cases now, marijuana. I've not done that. And I've been called on the carpet for saying I've never used drugs. And I've had 2 or 3 people say, what about alcohol? That's a drug. And my pat answer to that, and I'm not trying to defend my behavior, I'm just trying to point out that as of my entire adult life, alcohol has not been an illegal drug. And it might be something that those who use it could cut back and not become dependent upon it, me included. But no, I'm very pro-military, I'm very anti-war, and I'm very anti-drugs, illegal drugs. But the thing that I'm most opposed to is the trafficking of children. And that's why I'm hoping that my health stays good enough where I could rationalize being one of the 2 adults that would be leading the children's crusade going forward. And I'm hoping that our next gathering or conference will be in Dallas, Texas. It's a great conference center, and I have a hard time remembering the name of the hotel, but I think it's a Hilton in something Lake, but basically just north of the DFW airport. It's a conference center that has everything you need: nice rooms, nice meeting rooms, nice restaurants, a nice night spot. And I've been there on 3 occasions, and I'm hoping that, and this won't be my decision alone. I know who the lady that's going to assist me is, and it's a married lady that lives somewhere in the vicinity of Chicago. And she and her husband have been in my house on 1 occasion. And she and 2 of her lady friends, which I refer to as the church ladies, they've been to my house this past April. And one of those church ladies is a professional physical therapist. And just as luck would have it, I'm in need of one of those. And that's my go-to person. And even though I don't have her number and I'm not going to reveal her name, the lady that wants to be the co-leader of the Children's Crusade is a very good friend of that lady. And last night I spoke to 2 people Jenny, and I'm not going to tell you who they are, and I'll tell you privately why I'm not going to tell you. But I talked to them, and I told a woman in England and a man in Canada that I think I need uh, some physical therapy if I'm going to live an independent life. And I'm only 76, but I can see an erosion in, well, certainly my balance. In fact, I just had a haircut about an hour and a half ago, and the barber lady said, "When did you cut your head?" And I said, maybe what I should do is have you rephrase the question. How many times have you injured your head falling down? To which the answer would be 5 that I'm aware of. But I said, where is the wound to my head that you're talking about? And she took out her cell phone and took a picture of it. And I said, well, that I can tell you how I did that. I didn't know. I've never seen that wound. But I fell out of my bed and I struck the back of my head towards the top of my skull. I struck it on the bedside table, and it put about a 3-inch gash in my head. And the only reason I knew I'd injured my head is the following morning, the back of my head was bleeding enough where I was stuck to my pillow, basically. But enough about me. I see that some familiar names are here in the chat room with us, and that gives me the opportunity to say that there's some names I recognize, and they ask some very good questions, and they challenge me and stimulate me. So now that I've told you that I'm all in favor of getting the drugs and the drug merchants out of Venezuela, one way or the other, and I love children and I care about them. I have 10 grandchildren, but people don't want me to continue just rattling on about stuff I want to talk about. I think we should ask some of the chat room people to present me with questions, and let's see if I can answer them. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Fields. All right, yes, we will do that. And I hope you're doing okay. Yeah, I remember you when you got that boo-boo on your head. So yes. Here's a question from Chipper. He wrote it on the wall. He wants to know, do you believe that the family members of the victims of 9/11 know the truth? And when, if they don't, when will that be revealed?
Well, first of all, to ask, there were 2,998 victims of 9/11, of which I'm aware, and I'm not the most well-informed person, but I don't think they know the truth. I think the truth has been suppressed by the perpetrators of 9/11. And I'm going to make a bold statement right now, and I'll stand by this statement until I draw my final breath. Muslims and Islamists had nothing at all to do with 9/11. It was done by people like George H.W. Bush, John McCain, Hillary Clinton, and my own sister. And I actually broadcast that on Abel Danger to a global audience on 9/11 at approximately noon. So I know what the truth is. And on a side note, Francis Chick Burlingame, my Naval Academy classmate, was the captain of American 77, and American 77 never hit the Pentagon. It overflew the Pentagon, and then it was flown under remote control to Whiskey 386 Alpha airspace. I'm going to say that again in case people didn't write it down the first time. Whiskey, which is a capital W 386 Alpha, which is a capital A, airspace is about 60 miles off the coast of Norfolk. And that's where American 77 and my college classmate, Chick Burlingame, ended their life. I just saw a comment from somebody, I didn't catch her name, that she can't hear anything. But no, the truth has been withheld from the public and the survivors of 9/11, and more recently, MH370. And there's a clown that is claiming he knows where 370's wreckage is. Well, if he says the wreckage is in Donetsk, Ukraine, he'd be right. If he says it's in the ocean, he's wrong, and he's probably dishonest. Notice I didn't say his name. But the truth is out there if you know where to listen. I'd recommend that people listen to your platform, Jenny, because it's the best platform that I'm aware of. But I have other friends that visit numerous platforms, and I'm not suggesting that yours is the only one or the best one, but it's the only one I appear on, and it's the only one that I enjoy. And so thank you for doing what you do for our country, for our children, and for eradicating the drug issue and keeping America safe. So my hat's off to you. Actually, that's only an expression. My hat's on my head right now, so I guess I lied. But that was rather benign. Over to you, Jenny.
Oh, thank you, Field. It's a collective deal that we're all doing here for sure. So everybody that comes here and listens and participates, you're all a part of making this movement be what it is. So I want to commend all of you guys for having that drive and want to come and listen to these podcasts. So thank you, Field, and thank you, the Revival of America audience right here, because without you guys, the podcast wouldn't be. So pat yourselves on the back, and I just want to tell you guys thank you. All right, Derek French, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Thank you. Jenny, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, Bill, I got a couple questions. First, a statement. I always want to thank you for your continued service because when you swear the oath, you never can unswear it. So you're once a Marine, you're always a Marine. I was in the Army, but the same applies to me. So thank you for your continued service. I got two questions. I read an article on Telegram. I don't watch much mainstream media because they seem to be all liars. But I read an article on Telegram that several GOP senators and congressmen will be announcing their retirement. Is that disclosure of those people already being dealt with? That's my first question. My second question, I ran across an article on Telegram again that when we find out the truth, we was not watching Kamala Harris, but Kamal Roush. And they had a side-by-side picture. Those are my two questions, and I'll hush now.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you. You 61-year-old man, happily married. And I think that the truth is being withheld to this day from the American citizens, but I don't think that's going to last much longer. And I'm not politically motivated. I don't care about the two-party system. I think both parties are dishonest. But I do care about President Donald John Trump and his wife Melania. And for those people who don't know the significance of Melania in the history of the United States of America and Russia, she was a daughter in the Romanov family, and the Romanovs were killed in 1918. They killed both parents, and they killed 5 of the 7 children. And Melania is the granddaughter of one of the 2 children that survived the massacre. And they were so heinous. That's a tough word, but it's spelled Heinous, I believe. That not only did they kill 2 parents and 5 children, but they burned them beyond recognition. So, and they did that. They had them in, I think, a pit, a dugout in the ground, and they poured either gasoline or diesel in there, and they burned the people after they were already dead. I'm not suggesting they burned them alive, but they wanted to make it difficult for investigators to determine who got killed and who didn't. And Melania, thank God, literally, thank you, Lord, for saving Melania. And she's such a special person to President Trump, their man and wife, as most of you know. But she comes from a background where her family paid a big price wanting to serve God and serve the constituency of Russia back in 1918. And their service to Russia was cut short by people that apparently don't like Christians. But I don't know that. But that's what I sense. And I've seen a couple of people check in here that always ask good questions. And I look forward to hearing some of those questions. But in the meantime, Derek French had asked me 2 things. And I forgot the second one. Derek, could you remind me what your second question was?
Yeah, so I've seen a side-by-side snapshot of Kamala Harris and Kamal Roush, spelled Kamalarroush, and the caption was, "You will not know her as Kamala Harris, but Kamal Roush," and I was wondering if you had any insight to that.
No, I like it when I don't have an insight because it gives me the opportunity to be honest and say, no, I didn't know that. But now that you presented the question to me, I will find out because I'm not going to say a network like an organization, but I have friends and people that listen to me. And I see there's a man named Mark that's actually stayed in my house. And so I have people whose judgment I trust. And speaking of trusting, I wouldn't trust Camel. I was going to be impolite. I'll just leave it at Kamala. Um, I don't trust her. Never did. I mean, she couldn't be a legit politician and have anything to do with Joe Biden.
You were going to
So
say camel toe, wasn't you?
yeah, that's what I call it. Yeah. Well, actually, Derek, since your name is Derek French, let's fill out her last name. Her name to me is Camel Toe Hairlip.
Oh, me.
You're not having a myocardial infarction, are you, Jenny?
No, I'm laughing. I about fell out of my chair, but I didn't put the hair lip on the end, but I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah. No, Kamala, who knows where she really came from or what she was about, but she actually got into politics by being underneath a judge in San Francisco. If you
Willie
can
Brown.
visualize, go ahead.
Willie Brown?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's the name of it. Yeah. Well, I that might be the old-fashioned way of getting ahead, but it's just yeah. She got what she deserved eventually. You know, I don't know if she's been seen lately. I think even her arranged husband has maybe abandoned her. Uh, she's she's bad news, and we've had enough bad news in the United States of America. Mitch McConnell, bad news. John McCain, bad news. George H.W. Bush, bad news. Both Clintons, bad news. And I don't think many of your listeners know this, Jenny, but on some of the sweatshirts, and I'm wearing one of them right now, uh, on on my sweatshirt right now that's black with gold letters, it says ALGN Radio, which is a little good news. And that's a song by Anne Murray from Canada. And the refrain, she says after every verse, I sure could use a little good news today. And that's what I want to do. And I will do it if as long as I survive long enough. I'm 76 now. Um, but it's so much more pleasing to talk about good things and successes rather than bad things and failures. And that was sort of what Abel Danger was about. And that's sort of what the Children's Crusade was about and will be about again. Um, we in America and around the globe can do a much better job of caring for our children. And if you don't care for your children, what in the world would you ever care about? Um, Over to you, Derek, or you can pass it off to Jenny, whatever
Yeah,
you prefer.
I just posted the picture, Jenny. I hope that's okay in the
Of
in
course.
your Revival America podcast channel, and it shows the side by side of this Kamala Roush. I mean, with Kamala's neck, the way it always was, that seemed like somebody playing a part to me. So I just posted that side by side for Peel if he looks at it and he can get with the folks he trusts and search that Kamala Roush. I've never heard that name, but it makes a lot of sense to me. But anyway, thank you for your answers, Field, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Derek.
Well, yeah, thank you, Derek, especially for saying something kind to an old veteran, because when your guys, people like you and people like me, typically when we got out of high school, if we weren't going to be going to a prestigious college due to our lackluster academic record, then our other thing was we were patriotic enough to want to serve in the military. And in my case, I got out of high school in Honolulu, Hawaii in '67, and I wanted to become a Army helicopter pilot and go over to Vietnam and clean that mess up. And my mother said, "Oh, that's very patriotic, Field, but why don't you go to college? And then if you still want to go to Vietnam and it's still dragging on, then you can get into a jet fighter that goes a little faster and it's air conditioned." And I thought, my mom's awful smart, because things that go Mach 2 are harder to hit with a M1. And so that's what I did. I ended up flying F4s and F-16s and A4s and other fast moving aircraft. And I never got killed in Vietnam. I never even went to Vietnam. My mother and father, both military veterans, apparently they didn't want to see their only son die in Vietnam. And for that, I'm forever thankful to my mother and my father. My father was a 30-year Air Force SAC pilot, SAC, Strategic Air Command. And my mother was a registered nurse and an Army nurse, and she cared for my dad when he came back from POW camp in Japan, where he'd lost about 50 pounds, and he had beriberi and I think rickets and other malnutrition diseases. And yet my mother, bless her heart, uh, she nursed him back to full health, and they were married 61 years. And she died in '07. He died in '08. He died of a broken heart. I know that because 5 years ago I got my heart broken too. So I know how it feels. Thank you, Derek, for your questions and for your service. And over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Derek. All right, Mr. Mark, go ahead. Your mic's unmuted.
Well, hello to my good friend Field Mcconnell, and hello to you, Jenny.
Hello.
I wanted to, if it's okay with you, I could answer both of Derek's questions pretty quickly that he just asked. Would that be okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
on Kamal Arush, okay, there is a side-by-side picture. I've seen that picture 4 or 5 years ago. I believe that that Kamala is a transgender, and what puts it together for me is her husband is gay. Obviously, her husband ordered a hooker, a male hooker, to his house. That was the big hammer incident. And when you put 2 and 2 together, I'm pretty sure that she's Kamal Arush is her original name, and it's just one of those Satanist transgenders where they in the Satanist religion, basically, you either sacrifice your firstborn or you change their sex. That's why they push the transgenderism on all of us. So I'm going to answer that question by saying she's a transgender. And she originally was Kamal Arush. Okay. The second question he asked was about all the resignations that are about to happen in Congress and Senate. I'm a big on the Q posts. And if you go back to November 1st, 2017, Q post 24 says any person making statements they will not be seeking re-election was put into submission for the betterment of the country. Not all will be prosecuted, and they will do as told. You will see more of this occur even on the Democratic side. So yeah, I would say that Marjorie Taylor Greene is the latest victim resigning. And I think you're going to see a whole lot of them. So I hope that answers Derek's two questions that he had. Going to what I wanted to talk about, Field. You mentioned several months ago who planned the JFK killing, which I did not know. I always wanted to know. And you mentioned a man by the name of Clinton Murchison Sr., who had a party the night before Kennedy was shot. And I asked you who might have been at that party, and you responded one that you could corroborate was Lyndon Baines Johnson, the vice president at the time. And so I did a lot of research. And Field, as a gift to you, I would like to put a bow on the rest of that story. Would that be okay?
Oh, of course. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. So there's a lady by the name of Madeline Brown. Madeline Brown was LBJ's side dish that he was messing around with. And they buried the story, but she told the story of the Murchison. She was at the party. And I'm going to tell you who was at that party. First guy up is H.L. Hunt. Okay. He was a Texas oil man like Clinton Murchison Sr. And his son, coincidentally, was Lamar Hunt, who owned the Kansas City Chiefs. Clinton Murchison Sr., his son, Junior, owned the Dallas Cowboys up until they sold it to Jerry Jones. There's your football connection. These two scoundrels planned the whole thing. Now, who else was at that party, according to Madeline Brown? J. Edgar Hoover, who was the FBI director who hated Kennedy, and Kennedy hated him. Now, this name will really surprise you. Who else was at that party? Richard Nixon. Now, Nixon lost a very heated election to Kennedy in 1960. And of course, the story is that Kennedy's father got in with the mob and helped him get elected. So he was at the party. And here's what Madeline Brown said. And I have to quote what she said, LBJ said. I have to use a little language here. According to Madeline Brown, LBJ stood up in front of all of these people and said, after tonight, those goddamn Kennedys will never bother me again. That's the story. That's the bow on the rest of the story that you had told us.
Well, can I go a little step further?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, LBJ was very vulgar, and I'm not going to say how I know he was very vulgar, but I got it from a personal friend of mine who was the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency Administration, and he was flying with me at the North Dakota Air National Guard. But Mark, do you remember the USS Liberty incident on the 8th of June of '67?
Vaguely rings a bell.
Okay,
I was
well, I'm gonna,
told.
the kind of language that LBJ used when he said, after tonight, those goddamn Kennedys will not be a problem for. Well, they're going to continue to be a problem for him and anybody else. I've stayed in Clint Murchison's house, not the house that Madeline Brown is alluding to or has alluded to, but he had a ranch, uh, a farm building down. I'm trying to think of what town in Texas. It was basically just outside Canton, Texas, as I recall. But Clinton Murchison had a ranch building there and a very nice house for its time. It was built in the 70s, I believe. And I stayed there for 3 or 4 nights, or maybe even 3 or 4 times. And so, how was I able to get into Clint Murchison Sr.'s house? Uh, Maybe I'll write that in a book someday. But what I wanted to say about LBJ and his potty mouth, when he arranged to have the Israeli Air Force attack the USS Liberty on the 8th of June of 1967, he had told the Secretary of Defense, which at the time was McNamara. Please correct me if I'm erring, but he told the Secretary of Defense, in reference to the USS Liberty, he said, verbatim quote, pardon the language, I want that goddamn ship on the bottom of the ocean. Well, LBJ wasn't too bright because it wasn't in an ocean, it was in a sea. Uh, it was off the coast of uh, Israel and Egypt during their 6-day war. But that, well, I think it would be very appropriate for me to say that lying bastard, LBJ. And if anybody wants to sue me, get in line. He actually, to make sure that if the Israelis couldn't sink the Liberty, which they couldn't, they killed, a large number of the crewmen on the Liberty, but they didn't kill the ship. But he had planned ahead, he being LBJ, and he had a ship, actually a submarine at periscope depth. And I believe, and Mark, since you like to research things, I think it won't take you long to find out what the name of the submarine was, but I think it was the Amberjack. And I think there have been two U.S. submarines named Amberjack. And so when the Israelis in their aircraft, which were painted like Egyptian aircraft, and the mission there, or the purpose was, LBJ wanted to get the United States of America into the 6-day war. That guy was AFU, and I'm not going to say what those words stand for. And just because somebody's been president doesn't mean we have to respect them once we find out the truth. Case in point, Mike Pence. I believe he was executed in March of this year, and with good cause. Not all these people that serve in the government are trying to serve America. Such is the case with LBJ, Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell. That would be interesting if anybody within the sound of my voice right now knows if Mitch McConnell is freely walking the streets or if he's incarcerated. I'd love to find out about it. And it's real easy. If anybody knows that, they could just contact the Revival of America, which is JENNI, and say, I've got the answer to one of Field's questions, and I'll give you a bogus name. So I'm not tied to this testimony, but I've spent a lot of time trying to clean up America when it comes to child abuse and treason. And the beauty of my willingness to put my neck on the chopping block is I've proven what a bunch of pansies these guys are because they haven't killed me yet. And if they'd kill me, which I don't think they can, but I would welcome their driving up to my place in Plum City. And, you know, I had 4 death threats in 2009. I'm trying to think of, no, 19. Yeah, none of those death threats came true, but I did have 7 police officers from the Pierce County, Wisconsin Sheriff's Office, 7 police officers and 5 police cars were waiting for me at my office in Plum City on the certain date in 2019, at the 4th of November of 2019, and I was placed under arrest. But years later, I figured out that I was placed under arrest for protective custody, not punitive custody. So sometimes it helps to know people like Mark, who is a good researcher. There's a lady, I think, in the chat room today named Cal, and she generally asks good questions. And so I appreciate all your information, Mark, and I appreciate Derek's opinions, which I agree with him. And I think if Jenny's chat room wants to form a committee that would expose and I'll do the talking. Nobody else has to say anything. I don't mind putting my neck on a chopping block. I took 4 oaths to serve America and protect us from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And 3 of the oaths are known to the public. I took an oath on 28 June 67 to the Navy, 9 June of 71 to the Marine Corps, and the 5th of July of 77 to the Air Force. And the other oath that I took, I swore an oath on February 14th of 1967. I've never divulged what oath that was and to whom, except to one person. That was my wife, Denise Irene Clark, who died on the 30th of December of 2020, and she never divulged that oath. And, I'm eternally grateful for Denise for having the nerve and the brains to keep certain things out of the public domain. So, Jenny, can I turn it over to you now?
Of course. Did you have any more questions, Mark?
No, I just to say that the story I gave you, forget about who shot Kennedy. It's more important to know all these scoundrels that planned it, which makes the conspiracy. So that gives me a lot of closure on something that was important in my life.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. All right. Speaking of Miss Cal, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, happy holidays to all of you. Hello, Field. I have a couple questions I'd like to ask you. One is that I'm hoping that maybe not everything, but I think we're going to get to some big disclosure before we have the 250th year celebration in July 4th of 2026. What I'm wondering about this, from everything that I've seen, when they say fraud vitiates everything, will we have a special election, or are we going to go into the year 2028 and have an election? That's my first question. And my second question is this. I've done some looking into some stuff myself. I don't know what to make of it. But, from what I've read and seen, I don't think President Kennedy actually died in Dallas that day. And and he died just a few years ago. It was older man, unless that's not true. But my point is, we never hear anything about Bobby Kennedy. And that Sirhan shot him. I watched that live on TV that day at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, California, because I live here in California. And nobody's ever said anything much about him through all this stuff with the Kennedys. And I just saw something recently that pointed out where he would be about 100 years old if he was still alive, and it was an indicator that he may be. Now, is that crazy or what?
No, I don't think it's crazy. And everything you've said from your first word until your last, is that crazy or what? I've heard it all before. And as it pertains to, was JFK shot dead in Dallas? No, I don't think so. Because when Air Force One, which was it was a KC-135 derivative or a C-135 derivative, the casket that was loaded onto Air Force One did not have JFK in it. It had a deceased Dallas police officer in it. So they've got a lot of explaining to do. Who are they? Well, the people that have fabricated these fairy tales, and they've been proven not to be true. And I want to give a special thanks to Mark Levy for pointing out the real identity of camel toe hair lip. Oops, I slipped. Well, I'll just let it stand. I think that's a classier name than Kamala Harris. But, the truth comes out as long as people don't get upset or frustrated. But, if you take a look at all the planning and all the millions of dollars that go into these operations, like Clint Murchison Sr. and Clint Murchison Jr., they spend a lot of money that they didn't need to spend, because if they were just honest and they worked within the system, there'd be fewer dead people. But I guess the reason they don't mind having dead people is because dead people can tell no tales. But Jenny's chat room can tell tales. And, I guess it's Miss Cal or Mrs. Cal, but anyway, Cal from LA. She and Mark have shed some really good light, and so has Derek French, I think his last name is. And I think that Jenny's chat room is going to be a powerhouse of truth, because one by one, more people are going to get the nerve to come on and speak the truth. And the first time I spoke the truth that I can recall was about noon on the morning of 9/11, because I recognized the technology that was used on 9/11, and I immediately spoke up. And for that, rather than anybody in the official government saying, "Nice job, Field, how did you figure that out?" I figured it out because I have a background in flying airliners and also Air Force interceptors. And the mission for an Air Force interceptor is to go out on little notice. A klaxon goes off, you go hop in your airplane, regardless of the weather. The weather regulations don't apply to active air intercepts. You go out, hop in your airplane, and take off and follow the guidance of the ground control intercept operators until you get in within radar range of the offending aircraft. And then, and I'm speaking as someone who did this for 16 years, you're supposed to get a visual on the aircraft and then make a statement to your wingman, either friendly or hostile. and your wingman would be in a firing position. And if the answer he got or she got was hostile, then the guy that intercepted it and looked at it, so he had visual contact, would go into afterburner and pull away aggressively, because you wouldn't want to get hit with the collateral damage from a missile going up the tailpipe of a hostile target. And that sounds like something that I forgot the guy that wrote really good thrillers, but he's dead too. He died in Annapolis, Maryland, about 10 or 15 years ago. But this stuff is very stimulating, at least to me. And I did it. And because I knew both sides of the equation, I knew the interceptor pilot routine, and I knew the airline pilot routine. I knew about the Boeing uninterruptible autopilot as early as 1988. And though it wasn't in wide use, by 1995, it was in all the new Boeing airplanes, including the 777 that made up flight MH370, the Malaysian airliner that did not crash in the ocean. And if that irritates Prince William of England, tough beans. You know, you're a fake royal. You're not loyal to anyone. And your father's not the King of England. Your father is Juan Carlos, the King of Spain. At least when you go DNA or other ways to prove fatherhood. Anyway, I could rattle on, but I think it'd be more efficient for me to put all this in writing in a book called War Bride POW, and I will. And I've got a pretty good memory, so Mark Levy told me something that corroborated what I already thought. But just to make sure I do a good job of reporting, I've got his phone number and I know where he's located. Notice for the record, I didn't say Houston. I'm very careful about not sinking ships with my loose lips. But see, the bad guys, they're not as smart as they think. And the good guys, we're not as dumb as the bad guys think. So there's various networks of good American corroborators and collaborators that want the truth to be known. And I hope I don't sound frustrated or petulant, but I knew the truth of 9/11 on the morning of 9/11, and we're coming up on 24 years now. The truth has been suppressed. Well, when Donald Trump says to the White Hats, declassify 9/11, I'm hoping to get a phone call, and I'll leave it at that. Over to you, Jenny, or Cal.
I think she had one more question regarding Bobby Kennedy, the senior, Robert F. Kennedy. Go ahead, Cal. You want to repeat your question?
I just wonder if it's possible that he is still alive as well. I mean, we haven't heard anything about him through all this movement with the Kennedy family. And I just have, from my research, I'm just wondering if he still could possibly be alive as well.
Well, I think anything's possible, but did you estimate his age to be around 100, or was it higher than
Yes.
100?
No, what I saw was that he would be around 100. Now, from what I saw and learned about President Kennedy, is that he died when he was around 103 years old. And that was not too many years ago, 21 or something. I could be wrong on my dates, but I'm just curious about Bobby Kennedy, because I know he was the attorney general under his brother. And then that whole scene that I watched, I was 16 years old when I watched that on television that day. And I live in Orange County, California, but it happened up at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. and we never hear anything about him. And I just wonder what the real scoop was on him. Is it possible he is still alive?
Yeah, a very good possibility would be that he's alive and in a program called Gone with the Wind, because there's other famous people that are thought to be dead, and they're not dead. They got put in a protection program called Gone with the Wind. And I could rattle off some names, but that would make me look like a control freak. But I'm sure there's people in the chat room right now that know some of the names of people that are thought to be dead, but they're not dead. They're just in witness protection. And that's sort of like me. When I got arrested on the 4th of November of 2019, I didn't know it at the time, but I found out that because I had 4 active murder threats, and one of the, I guess you'd call them contract killers, was in the vicinity of Plum City. The sheriff in Ellsworth, Wisconsin, which is the Pierce County Sheriff's Office, I think was tipped off by some elements of the Trump administration to put Field Mcconnell in protective custody for a while. And a while became 16 months. And the only thing that bothers me, I don't mind being put in custody. I didn't smile because I am sort of a wise blank. Think of the donkey, another name for a donkey. But I'd rather be in protective custody than on a mortician's table trying for him or her to try to determine my manner of death. Well, I can make it real easy. I'm not dead yet. I'm only 76. So if Bobby Kennedy can make it to 100, I believe I can too, because Bobby Kennedy, I doubt, got a med bed treatment. And I believe that med beds are going to become very popular very soon. And if people don't believe in med beds, this might be a good time to start believing it, because you're going to see it. Okay, so that was
Thank you,
Cal,
Phil.
I think. Yeah,
Yes.
was that?
Yes, it was. I just want to say, I've said it so many times, but I cannot say it enough. Thank you, Jenny, for this channel. God bless you, Field. God bless all of you that have done all this hard work. And I pray that this comes forward soon, because I'd hate to die first. I hope God doesn't call me home first before I see the truth of this. But thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, Cal. Thank you for always being here and your great questions. We appreciate you. All right, Linda Henderson, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Linda. All right, we're going to move on. Let's see who is next. Carol H., your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, Jenny. Hi,
Hello.
Phil. Happy holidays. So a couple questions here for Phil. He spoke about that radio station that he had. Is that still operational, Phil? Is it a radio
Nope.
station that's still going?
No, see, I'm very loyal to Jenny, and I'm also getting older, and I've been in ill health. In fact, I got a visitor coming in now, and she's known to me. In fact, she's known to many of you. She's a medical person, and it's nice to see you. I wanted to see you anyway, but take a look at the back of my head.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Had you seen that cut before?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think that's when I fell out of bed. But anyway, I'm talking to the lady that's my medical advisor. And so, Jenny, had you turned it over to one of the guests, or are you holding down the fort, Jenny?
No, Carol H had a question for you in regards to Abel Danger, if that was still up and going and you were starting to answer, letting her know that it's not, and that you were in ill health. So yeah, if you want to finish with answering her, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think she was talking about a little good news radio, ALGN. And once again, if anybody forgot, that was a song by Anne Murray from Canada. And the refrain or the chorus was, I sure could use a little good news today. And I'm very motivated to change broadcasting, at least on a micro broadcast or a podcast. You know, there's no reason why we have to dwell on the negative. Why don't we celebrate the positives? Like children, they're blessing from God. These children, they don't cause themselves to be born. Most of you adults know how the process goes. Uh, but you know, littering the world with children that are not going to be cared for is not very humane. So if people are going to have children, then you know somebody has to step up to the plate and take care of those children. And I and my name is Field Mcconnell, and the reason I stick my name down their throat all the time is because so many people make up phony names because they want to hide. You can't hide. If nobody else can get you, the United States Marine Corps can find anybody, any place. And I just thought of something I learned on this radio show, Heidi. You know, Kamala Harris, transgender. I just learned it. Yeah, Jenny's show is great. She has some very, very, I'm going to use a snobby college boy word, erudite. It means knowledgeable. She has some very knowledgeable people in her chat room, and I'm talking to one of them right now. Is it Linda H?
Carol
Hey,
H.
Hey,
Carol.
Phil.
Oh,
Yeah, it's Carol. Hi, Heidi. But anyway, Phil, I wanted to give you some good news today. A
please.
little bit of good news.
Okay.
So, I believe that ringing of the bells can heal everyone across the globe. Have you ever heard of that about the ringing of the bells? And of course, they've took all the bells out of most of the churches and things like that. But what I wanted to share with you and Jenny and your audience, we're trying to get the word out that we're going to ring the bells on New Year's Day. So I have a
Oh, good.
flyer. Yeah. So I got a flyer that I'm going to put on Jenny's back wall, and we're going to get the word out, and we're going to ring the bells, and it's going to heal the communities. It's going to heal the nations, and we're so excited. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
all you do.
Thank you, Carol. If you don't mind sending me that too in a DM, so that way I can get it out on all my other social media platforms as well. I think that's an amazing idea, buddy. You just gave me the chills. Thank you, Carol. That's awesome.
Thank you. I love
Can
you
I make
both.
a comment? Carol, may I reflect on what you said about ringing the bells?
Please, Phil. Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the term med bed?
Yes, I am. But
Okay.
yep, keep going.
No, go ahead. Let's do baby steps. Your turn.
Well, I've, I believe that as humans, I believe we are our own med beds. Now, I've been down to John Baxter, I've been there, and I believe God created our bodies to heal itself. So I think we're our own med beds. So, but yeah, I have seen machines and all those good things. So it is about frequency. I love you all.
Yeah, well, before you say you love us, um, I guess you can't retract that, can you? I guess I love you too then. Yeah, the ringing of the bell, that's just like a med bed. It's frequency, and we are we're humans, and God made us so our body could heal itself. And the people that should be healing us are the American Medical Association, and the National Health Service. And I'm not so sure we got a donkey pulling the horse cart. A donkey is also known as an ass, but I haven't. I don't want to sound like I'm totally dissatisfied with the American Medical Association, but Carol, did you know the AMA, the American Dental Association, the American Bar Association, and the IRS were all four corporations owned by Northern Trust of Chicago?
Yes, sir. I believe all three-letter agencies are like that.
Yeah, yeah. And see, I don't know why we have so much money going to universities and public education, and yet, if I know this, I'll tell people for free. Will they believe me? I don't know. I don't care. The truth is the truth. And I'm looking at a T-shirt right now it says, "Remember the Liberty," and it's got the date of 8 June of 67. And my lady in my house here to check my health, I presume, um, she doesn't know that I just spoke on the Liberty, because President LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, he's a vulgar guy. He told the Secretary of Defense, "I want that goddamn ship on the bottom of the ocean." And he's AFU. He didn't know that it was the Persian Sea or whatever. It's not an ocean. But anyway, he didn't care about the details. He wanted to kill people, kill Americans, and the USS Liberty. Well, not all the USS Liberty men are dead yet, even though that was 67, 33. That was 58 years ago. There's still a few good guys around. And I know one of the good guys wants to hold their feet to the fire. And that's why I mentioned to Mark Levy that the submarine, that I didn't finish that story. So, Mark, I hope you're listening. That submarine, the USS Amberjack, was at periscope depth. And then when the chain of command of the U.S. military said Amberjack torpedo the Liberty, they pulled the switch on the torpedo, but it just like human bodies have ribs, ships have ribs too, reinforced steel. And that's what the torpedo, which should have sunk the Liberty, it was saved because it hit a rib and bounced off the Liberty. And sometimes, Jenny, you've never seen me get mad, and I hope you never do, because it's bad for my health. But when I think about a president, a secretary of defense, and a submarine commander all agreeing to sink the Liberty, I'm so glad that the USS Liberty did not sink until after its active service. But, I was in the military for 26 years, my dad for 30 years, and both of us thought we were serving America. Well, sadly enough, and I'm glad my father won't hear my words, but he served America for 30 years in his mind, but he didn't have good leadership at any point. We have a bunch of traitors involved in the highest levels of military command, but that's no longer the case. Trump and military White Hats cleaned that up, and I'm doing my odd part to help clean it up faster. Our young men and young women in the military laying their life on the line according to their oath of office, they need to be protected by good leadership. And in my experience, that I got in the military in 1967 and I got out in 1993, I never saw any good leadership. But I can write books better than the bad guys. And so I'll get them. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. All right, Field, I have two more questions here for you. So, Miss Jean Thompson, your mic is unmuted. And then after that, Minnie TNT, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Jean.
I just wanted to comment on, I believe it was Cal, or one of the ladies was talking about Kennedy still being alive. And I don't remember what year it was, but Trump was giving a speech, and there was someone in the audience, and some of the people that I follow said that it was RFK, and he was dressed in military, and I believe it had to do with some of the people, the military getting killed, or no, Trump was recognizing some
The
of
veterans.
the military. Yes, yes. And I just wanted to. I don't remember what year it was, but maybe someone can go and try to find it and see that man. And he did look like Kennedy, who would have aged. So, and I just want to say again, I love you both, and thank you so much for everything you do and the time that you spend, Jenny, because I know you have a life, and you too, Field. There's a lot of people fighting, and I just appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much for
Jean.
the. Yes,
Go ahead,
thank
Phil.
you.
Yes,
No,
we
I was
thank
just
you.
thanking.
Yeah, we thank you for being here, because remember, everybody, you are a part of this as well. It's just it's your voices too are the ones that matter as well. So thank you for being here and asking questions or helping give answers to questions. We appreciate you, Jean. Go ahead, Field, if you want to respond.
No, I just wanted to thank her also because I know you have a day gig and you have a job. I don't, but what I do have is I've got a pretty nice retirement from flying aircraft safely. And when I say safely, I didn't fly according to all the regulations all the time. In fact, I think you've got it, Jenny, but I did an air refueling at 200 feet with a KC-135 tanker, and I've got the videotape. And some people would say, why do you want to get yourself in trouble? It's not I want to get myself in trouble. I want to demonstrate what loyal servants in the military can do if they don't let their leaders get in the way. And that goes along with President Trump's favorite expression, fuck around and find out.
Amen. I love that expression.
I do
All
too.
right.
And I'm putting on my FAFO hat now, and there's one witness to it, and that's my medical advisor, who's here probably to check me. I was gonna anyway. I'll talk to you know who once we're off the air. But Jenny, is there anybody else that has a question? And
Yep,
thank you.
I've got one more question, and then we'll let you go so Heidi can do her thing. Go ahead, Minnie TNT. Your mic is unmuted.
Thank you, thank you. Phil, you make me smile. I want to thank you for your service, sir. God bless you. I too am a widow, and I can relate. Also, I agree with you about the med beds, and I too look forward to when they do come, because there is a lot of people that need healing. And I just want to thank you. Also, keep Tina Peters in your prayers, sir. And I love you very much. God bless you.
Well, I love you too, and I want to say that there's difference between love and love. And I've never seen your picture, and I love you because I know the condition of your heart. And I know the enormity of your loss because I shared the same loss. So thank you for, you know, cheering me up a little bit today. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome, Field.
Thank you, Field. Thank you, Minnie, and everybody here. Field typically gives us 90 minutes of his time, and we are right there at the mark. And as you hear, we got Miss Heidi over there, his medical advisor, gonna check on his stitch. I'm assuming your stitches. So, God bless you, Field. God bless you, Heidi. If you're there in the background, we love you. We will see you next Monday here at the same time, same place.
That sounds good. I'll be here.
All right, take care of yourself, Field. Love you, and everybody. Again, Captain Kyle will be here on Wednesday, 5:30 Central Standard Time, and we're gonna do him once a month right now until his work schedule lightens up a little bit. Yeah, and then Dallas, we're gonna figure that one out. It's either gonna be monthly, it's gonna be every other week, or Wednesday, but later in the probably evening after he gets off work. So I'll keep you guys posted. Be mindful, it's the holidays. The shows might be a little sporadic. We'll be here, but I really, really encourage all of you and want you guys to enjoy your friends and family because, you know, we're coming into some greater days, but we've got to get through these tough times. But in the meantime, enjoy and live your life because there's a lot of noise out there, everybody. God bless you all. I love you all. And once again, Revival America would not be anything without you guys. And this was an amazing, all of these chats are amazing. But this one, we had a lot more new information. I think many of us may have not heard. Field didn't hear. We learned, and we always do. And that's what we're here for, guys. So God bless you. And we'll see you here on Wednesday. I will have 4 shows on Wednesday. So be here or be square. Just kidding. Love you all. God bless.
Love you.
Bye bye.
Bye, Field.
I love
Thank you,
you
Minnie.
too. Bye bye.
Love you, Field.